It is inevitable that at some point in our lives, and probably many times in our life, that we will receive a big fat no and face rejection. And not surprisingly, this doesn't make us feel very great. But what if things aren't falling apart? What if the pieces are actually getting put together? What if that rejection is redirection and leading you to something better? Hello everyone and welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Jillz and I help women step into their power, tap into their divine feminine, and become their best selves. So if that's something you want to do, you should subscribe and stick around. So when we face rejection in our life, whether it's the job we apply to that says no, or the guy that we're interested in that clearly is not interested in us back, or the school or program we apply to that rejects our application, those no's can hurt. And sometimes they feel like a big old fat slap in the face and we let it intimidate us. And instead of leading into the idea that, hey, maybe this is actually a blessing in disguise, we tend to do the opposite. We maybe have a little bit of a panic moment about our future, or we question our worth, or we question, can I really receive something good? Is that really in the cards for me? Now, the thing is that as high value women, right, we are constantly putting ourselves out there, whether we're applying to that dream job or going on those dates or auditioning for that thing, submitting an application to your dream school or starting businesses or meeting new people, whatever it is, we take aligned action and aligned risks to make our dream life a reality. You don't just create your dream life by sitting on the couch all day and binge watching Love is Blind. But of course, putting ourselves out there means that we also open up the door to rejection. It's inevitable. But how we react to rejection is everything. And so in this video, we're gonna chat about how rejection can actually be the most amazing redirection of your life, be a blessing in disguise, and give you some practical tips on what to do the next time you receive a hard no, because let's be real, there's probably gonna be another one for me and for you. Okay, so first let me tell you a little bit of a story. So back several years ago, and some of you might already know this, but I was working a corporate job in the finance and accounting space at a really big company. I didn't particularly enjoy it. I didn't find it very fulfilling. It was quite a bit of work. It was a little bit stressful. It had a really long commute. There was a period of time where I had to wake up at like 4 a.m. every day to be able to get to work on time. It was terrible. I'm not a morning person. And during that time, I developed some pretty serious health issues, like some autoimmune issues and things like that. And on top of that, I was just burnt out, like physically, mentally, all of it. Mostly because I wasn't enjoying my day-to-day. Eventually, I quit and I decided that I was gonna find a new job that was hopefully a lot closer to home, so the commute would be a lot shorter, and just something that was just a little bit easier and a little bit less stress, something that kind of hit the more of the 9-to-5 typical work day. It would still be the same exact role, the same exact industry and everything, just hopefully a little bit, like ideally a little bit easier of a job. But to be honest, I didn't really want to do that. I didn't see a future for myself in that kind of work. Like I didn't particularly enjoy it at all and it didn't feel aligned, but for some reason, I felt like I had to do it. Like my logical brain couldn't see any other way, any other path. So I applied for a few jobs that were closer to home, and there was this one job where I got the first round interview and then the second round interview, and it was good. They were really nice, and I walked out of there thinking, okay, if they give me this job, I'm gonna take it. And a few days later, I remembered this exact moment. I was sitting outside of a Whole Foods about to go in, and I got a call from them telling me that I didn't get the job, that I was rejected. At first, I felt like, not surprisingly, a little bummed, and I was questioning, like, why wasn't I good enough? Where did I go wrong? And I was sad about it. But there was also a tiny part of me, I realized deep down, that was actually happy. And in that moment, maybe not that exact moment, but like an hour or two later, I had this deep feeling that that rejection was a sign from the universe, that it was God, the universe saying like, what are you doing? This is not the direction you're supposed to go in, and I'm gonna make sure that you know that. You literally got sick at your last job. Why are you trying to find one that's almost identical? This isn't your path. So I decided to listen to that and take time off to heal my body. And even though the thought of that scared me a lot and I had to make some massive sacrifices to be able to do that, that's what I did. I'm someone who's always loved the safe route in the past. I definitely had a lot of doubt around this decision, but I just decided to trust it. Now, it's not like I heard that rejection and thought, oh, I'm gonna heal my body and learn about self-development and feminine energy and start a YouTube channel. Not at all. I only knew the right next step for me, focusing on healing my body. And I decided to trust that. Now, let's bring it back to you. Perhaps you just got a no and are wondering, like, what's next? Where do I go from here? I'm gonna say this nice and slow. follow. Rejection is your redirection to something even better. I mean, could you imagine if I got a yes from that finance job? I would have taken it 100%. I probably wouldn't be talking to you today. I probably would be slaving behind a desk, doing a job that I didn't like, but I felt like I had to, feeling really resentful. And I wouldn't be living the life that I have now that includes freedom and fun and passion and purpose. Or perhaps I would have gotten here someday. Maybe I would have, but I mean, damn, that would have been like a lot longer and bumpier of a route. So what if the universe, God, whatever you believe, is trying to bring you a shortcut to happiness? What if that no is actually a redirection to something better? Can you be open to the possibility that this no is actually a blessing in disguise? That it's not throwing you off your path, it's putting you on the right one, the better one. But here we go, we demand a person, a job, a situation, an opportunity to work out exactly as we want it to. Remember that, yes, you are the creator of your reality, but you are not God. You're not all-knowing. Our perspective of what's best for us is limited because we can only see what's in front of us right now. We can't see the bigger picture. We don't have that bird's eye view. Sometimes we have to get out of our own way and trust in the direction we're being led. And I'll give you some practical tips on how to do that in a little bit. But I get it. When you get a no, it's easy to believe that the best is behind you. And you start thinking things like, this opportunity took me forever to find. Will there ever be another one? Or all the good men are taken. Or if they didn't accept my application, then who will? Or I always get denied, or I'm not good enough. You kind of have to halt the brakes on your pity party and remember who you are. Okay, because you see, rejection can result in this negative thinking spiral because you accidentally put that specific outcome on a pedestal. You made it in your head into the ideal situation, when in reality, it's clearly not, because if it was, it would have happened to you, because you can't miss what is meant for you. I'm gonna say that again, you can't miss what is meant for you. If you got a no, can you imagine the good that God, the universe, whatever is trying to bring you? If you thought that that person, that situation, that opportunity was good, well, what if you got a little bit excited because you knew that something better was on its way? You might not receive that thing right now in this moment, but it will come because that no was the catalyst to something greater. You needed that no to open the door to something better. Everything in my life, literally almost everything in my life, every rejection I've gotten, every tough challenge I went through, even the harder personal ones, led to something better over the long term. And it's hard to see in the moment because we can't really see the big picture, but it's always ended up that way, at least for me, at least 99.9% of the time. Maybe not right away, but eventually. It's like that meme or that graphic, you might have seen it, where it's this little girl holding this tiny teddy bear and she's standing next to God, or you can see this as whatever higher power you believe in, or maybe it's your grandma who's passed on and you believe that she watches over you, whatever. It doesn't matter. But God has this huge, bigger, better teddy bear hidden behind his back. And he's reaching out his hand to take the little tiny teddy bear away from her. And she goes, no, but I love it. She doesn't want him to take it. But he says, trust me. Trust me, girl, I've got something better. But she just couldn't see it. So what do you want? Do you want what was denied to you, or are you willing to believe in something better? Are you willing to consider that the path that you were on was not actually the best path to get you to where you really want to go? Could there be other options that could potentially surprise and delight you? Are you willing to let go and trust? Now let's talk about what to do the next time you hear a no and how to stay empowered in that process. So first of all, the reason why we can get so hurt and run down from a rejection is because, like I said, we become so attached to the outcome. If we weren't attached, we would be much more likely to just be like, okay, but it's that super intense attachment that can make us suffer from that rejection and make us feel desperate. Attachment to one specific outcome never feels good. It's control, it's force, it's demanding, it's chasing, it's everything that feminine energy is not. And again, it's desperate. And that desperate energy never feels good. So when you get a rejection, you have to step back into that feminine energy, that healthy, detached energy, that energy of attracting what you want, the one that believes that you are divinely guided and supported. And remember that rejection is a redirection to something even better. Stop clinging to outcomes and remember that the universe has your back. Next, the second after you hear that no, that's usually not the time to be immediately planning next steps. Sometimes your energy, your vibration, your frequency, your nervous system is all kind of thrown off a little bit. Even if you weren't attached to the outcome, and even if you know that you're being redirected to something better, it doesn't mean that you won't ever feel sad or angry that you were denied something that you wanted. And so if that's the case, you have to let that emotion out. Crying, running, jumping, yelling, dancing, yoga, physical experiences like this are how we self-regulate and how we release that emotion from our physical body. And humans are not the only ones who do this. A lot of mammals do this. Dogs do this. Like for example, when dogs are stressed or super anxious, or they're just like super excited, they shake their whole body. They do this like little doggy shake to calm their nervous system and to release that fight or flight feeling from their body, and they shake it off. And once they do, they're good. They move on and they let it go. Same with toddlers, right? Like they have no shame in crying. It doesn't matter where they are. If something makes them sad or upset, they will cry and scream about it. But then 5 minutes later, they'll be totally fine, totally happy, laughing and smiling. By letting it out, they let it go and they can move forward and get that good vibration back. And that good vibration is what attracts good things into your life. That something better is gonna have a lot harder time finding you if you're stuck in this low vibe, bad energy state, when you can't let it go. And it's a lot easier to be positive about the future and trusting about the future once you allow those negative emotions to be released from your body. Now, the next tip, number 3, if your default response to rejection is feeling closed off and like shutting down, then this is especially important for you. The vibration of closed off will not attract new avenues for the good to get to you. It will repel it. And I don't say this thinking that you should put on this like fake, like I got this smile. No, feel your feelings, but then go have fun, go out, go do things that excite you and inspire you. Go buy a cute new houseplant or go to the coffee shop and plan your next trip. Go spend time with your friends. Whatever makes you happy, go do it. But the intention here is not to reminisce about that rejection that you just got. Just ignore it for a bit. Go have fun and give yourself permission to be present. Now that brings me to step number 4, take the next right step. And I choose my words very carefully here because often once we're rejected, we want to know exactly how everything's gonna work out and, you know, all 108 steps, but that's just not how life works. You will only receive the next right step to take. You won't know how it all works out. You only have to focus on that next right step. Maybe you get that next little step from your intuition guiding you like I did, or maybe you get big fat signs thrown in your face about what to do next as you go about your day. Just be open to receiving them and don't be surprised if they look different than you first might expect. Let's say, for example, that you are dating and you are trying to call in your future partner, someone who treats you really well, gives you that princess treatment, and is your soulmate, someone you can live happily ever after with, but it hasn't been going well. And instead of doing what you used to, like frantically swiping through dating apps, you receive that intuitive nudge to start taking a break and to start taking action on living a healthier lifestyle. This action, although it might seem a little trivial and unrelated, could actually help to call in your future partner because maybe he is vibrating at the frequency of health. You know, like that's who he is. And by taking inspired action, you just became a match to your man. Or maybe you literally end up meeting him at the gym or at your local organic juice bar. Again, you won't know the full picture, but you have to trust that next step that you're being guided to. To get crystal clear on that next action step, here's 5 journaling questions you can use that I've come up with if you need more of that clarity. Number 1, okay, I gotta know, but what qualities of that person, situation, opportunity did I resonate with? Number 2, what qualities, if I'm being really honest with myself, did I wish were better? 3, how could this rejection be leading me in a better direction? 4, what does this new direction look and feel like? And what could be the next action that I need to take to get there? And number 5, how can I keep my vibe high while I call in and attract that new person, that new situation, that new opportunity, whatever? And lastly, no one can really reject you. Not really. You reject yourself. You might receive a no and you might not be able to experience that thing, but only you have the power to let it mean something about who you are and the worth that you have. Oprah, who's worth literally $1 bajillion and who's impacted so many people's lives and truly lives a life of like luxury and also purpose and passion, she was fired from her supposed dream job as a news anchor right before she started her billion-dollar empire. That harsh rejection redirected her to something different, something better. She went into daytime television and she realized how much she loved talking to people and sharing inspiring stories and how much she liked that more than the news. And obviously she was really good at it. And so that rejection is what opened the door to all of the amazing things she has now. Walt Disney also got fired from a job at a newspaper because he, quote, lacked imagination and didn't have any good ideas. And now looking back, we know that he was redirected to something better. So it's time to get up. This is not the end of your story. This is where your story begins. This rejection is the beginning of something better. What if it's the comeback you've been praying for. Now remember that a lag time is normal when manifesting. And for example, when my husband, when he is done with work and he calls me and says that he'll be home in 30 minutes, I don't pace around the house wondering if he's actually gonna come home. I don't stalk him on Find My Friends and make sure that he's moving in the right direction every few seconds. I trust that he's coming. I know that he's coming. I trust that lag time. It's this feeling of full belief. So believe and know that something better is coming. And if you ever start to lose belief, I really like this quote by Victoria Moran. She says, "In this moment, there's plenty of time. In this moment, you are precisely as you should be. In this moment, there is infinite possibility." So that is it. I hope this video brought you value and that you enjoyed it. And if it did, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. And if you haven't seen this video, how to manifest anything using feminine energy, I highly recommend you go watch it. It's very relevant to what we're talking about today and attracting in those new, better opportunities and creating that life you want. So I'll see you over there, or I'll just see you next time in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.